Hello, welcome everybody. This is Healthy Through the Holidays. My name is Rachel. I'm a registered dietitian with Archimenides Group, and we're so excited to bring you this 4-week program where each week we'll have some themes, some focus points for you, and some things that you can do to hopefully help you reach your nutrition goals. The holidays are such a wonderful time to get together with friends, with family, but we also know that it can be really stressful, especially if you are working on certain nutrition goals. So hopefully we have some tools and some tips here to help you through that. So this week, we're going to discuss goal setting, nutrition foundations, and get into an action plan. You'll also receive a nutrition while traveling handout. So what is nutrition? I like starting with this question because it's so easy to connect nutrition to our weight status, something that gets really heavily emphasized, especially like at the doctor's office, right? And it's good to remind ourselves that nutrition is the fuel for every organ system in your body. So your immune function, your brain function, your heart, every system in the body is fueled by nutrients. And with that diverse number of systems in your body, it makes sense that there's a diverse number of nutrients to fuel those. So looking at this slide, improving our nutrition health can increase our longevity, decrease chronic inflammation, improve immune function, increase energy. The list goes on and on. So when you're setting your goals, really come back to the why. What is kind of that bigger picture that you're trying to achieve with the nutrition changes that you're making? And remember that weight status and nutritional health are not always the same thing. So when we're looking at weight loss in particular, and I bring that up just because it is a pretty common goal. We won't totally focus on that today, but what foods that you're choosing really does make a big difference in the long-term success of weight loss, as well as doing it in a healthy way so that you're still supporting your body. All right. So when we're thinking about our nutrition foundations, all the different nutrients that are going to be balanced, be comprehensive to support your health, the Healthy Plate Guide is a great way to think about it. So in this visual, we'll see somewhere around half to a third of the volume of foods that we're consuming should be fruits and vegetables. Another 2/3 to a half, all my more calorie containing nutrients on the right side of the plate. So your starch, your fats, and your protein. This varies a little bit depending on your activity level, your lifestyle, but thinking about this as the volumes of foods you want to get in an entire day can really help support your overall health, your fullness, your energy. So this can be a great opportunity to start thinking about goals and some action items that you can take in your week. For example, if you're looking at this plate and you're like, I'm a little low on vegetable intake. I think maybe I'm consuming more starch. Then that can be a great starting point to see how we can work more vegetables into maybe recipes you're already cooking, or maybe as a side to something. So instead of the Healthy Plate Guide, we can also look at macro breakdown. So I have on the right side here about 40 to 65% of our calories coming from carbohydrates. We want about 15 to 25% from protein and 20 to 35% from fats. Those ranges are pretty big because it really does depend on the person, age, how active you are, etc. 25 plus grams of fiber for women, 35 plus grams of fiber for men. We'll talk about more about that in week 3. But that is a nutrient that tends to get overlooked that is super important for our overall health. So if you do any kind of meal tracking or label reading, check out the fiber content. When we're thinking about keeping our energy balance over the day, try to avoid skipping meals. So during the holidays, it's really easy to kind of let ourselves go hungry earlier in the day, save up our hunger for that really big meal coming later. And you can absolutely do that. But you might find it's a little easier to overeat when we're ravenously hungry by the time we start that first meal. So consider avoid skipping meals and having your breakfast, your lunch, and eating throughout the day. Fullness nutrients. So fiber, fat, and protein help us feel fuller. Oops. They help us feel full. They can help kind of keep our energy stable throughout the day, prevent those jumps and dips if we're getting a good balance of these three nutrients. To do that, we want to combine food groups together in our meals and snacks. Doesn't have to be all five on every single plate, right? But maybe instead of just an apple for a mid-morning snack, maybe I do an apple with some peanut butter. Maybe instead of just rice for lunch, right? Maybe I do some rice, some chicken, some broccoli on the side with my favorite sauce. So think about combining food groups together so that you're getting some fiber, some fat, and some protein in all the meals and snacks that you're eating. That'll help you feel full longer, keep your energy more stable, and help prevent overeating. Weekly plan. So sometimes the biggest barrier to changing nutrition habits is just figuring out how it fits into our week. So as much as you can, make it specific. You can start with this guide and write out generally what meals you're going to have in the day for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. Doesn't have to be all recipes, right? And your diet doesn't have to look like this right now. This is a great goal to work up to. But just start with that plan. What are maybe one or two recipes you could try out this week, maybe that are new? And done in the plan. From there, it's much easier to create your shopping list. After I have that put together, I'm going to decide when and where you're actually going to get groceries. When you're choosing your recipes, think about how much time you actually have to cook. What days are those going to fit on? Do I have a busy day that day? Am I going to have the energy, the time to do that recipe? If not, maybe choosing something that's a little bit easier or thinking about putting that prep on a different day, whether it's chopping the vegetables, pre-prepping the meat, the starch, whatever it is. Thinking about how much variety you want, right? If you're someone who gets really tired of things really quickly, maybe oatmeal 7 days a week isn't a great idea. Try out some new things. The more satisfied we are with our meals, the less likely we are to overeat and overconsume more fun foods. Schedule your prep. Again, if you know it's going to be a crazy day on Tuesday, don't make the bulk of your cooking on Tuesday. Set yourself up for success by doing some of that prep, maybe on a Sunday or a Monday. Lastly, once you have this schedule together, ask yourself, what is your confidence level on making this happen? And that can kind of help you go back and tailor it to something that's going to be realistic for your week. Maybe we add some more grab and go items if cooking just isn't in your schedule. And be sure to enlist help, especially during the holidays. If you're hosting, it can be really stressful and a lot of time and a lot of work. So enlist help from your spouse, from your kids when you're in the kitchen, grandparents. If you have some people coming from a different household, maybe ask them to bring something or assign them a dish so that you're not doing everything yourself. And those are our basics, nutrition basics. So this week you're going to get a SMART goal sheet. Please fill that out. Spend some time on the R part of the SMART goal. How is the action plan we're taking relevant to your larger objective? Healthy Plate Guide can be a great starting point for setting goals. If you're noticing that you have some nutrients that maybe you're consuming more than others, maybe start adding in some more vegetables or protein foods, whatever it is. You'll also get a Healthy Plate Guide handout with the visual that you saw on the slide, along with some more details about what falls into those categories and what a serving size looks like. And lastly, creating an action plan. So we know overhauling our diet all at once tends to be way less effective long-term than taking small changes. So just choose one or two things that you want to start with this week to balance out your nutrition and get a little bit closer to your goals. And with that, have a fantastic week, everybody. We'll see you next week to dig a little bit deeper into nutrition habits and why we have the habits that we do. I'll see you soon.